Welcome to the channel. It's Team Money Magic. Today we're going to be looking into the white cards for Lorwyn Eclipsed. If you like the content, be sure to like and subscribe. It's going to be a pretty straightforward video. I'm just going to be showing each one of the cards. Right beside the cards, there'll be a letter grade. An A means that it's a bomb. It's a card you're going to want to play every time. A B is a card you're going to be very happy to play. A C is going to be cards that you're just kind of going to fill out the deck with. D's are more situational or sideboard cards. And then F's are just cards that you don't want to play in limited. This set looks really fun. I'm really excited to be able to review these cards and give you my take on them. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, the first card we're going to be looking at is Adapt Water Shaper. It's for 3 mana. It's a Merfolk Cleric. It says other tap creatures you control have indestructible, and it's a 3/4. I think this card's really solid. It's overstatted, so you're getting a good stat value out of the mana cost. It's also going to go great in your Merfolk deck where you're already going to be convoking and doing things of that nature. I think it's a great card. You're going to be very happy with it. The next card we have Ajani, Outland Chaperone. That is for 3 mana. 2 of those are white mana. It's a legendary planeswalker, Ajani. Starts with 3 loyalty. Its +1 says create a 1/1 green and white Kifkin creature token. Its -2 says Ajani deals 4 damage to target tap creature. Its -8 says look the top X cards of your library where X is your life total. You may put any number of non-land permanent cards with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield. This card's great. Planeswalkers who can protect themselves are always solid. You're going to be very happy to take this card. It's a solid 3-drop. Basically, it comes down and either you can create a body or you can get rid of a creature that is tapped out. And the best case, if you can somehow manage to get it all the way up to 8, which won't be super easy to do, but if you are able to do that, you're just going to take over the game. There's just too much going on with this card for it not to be an excellent pick. The next card we're looking at is Appeal to Irdu. It is for 4 mana. It's an instant. It has Convoke, and it says 1 or 2 target creatures each get +2/+1 until end of turn. I don't think this card's very good. Even with the Convoke cost to kind of help reduce its overall cost, I just still don't think that it has enough going on to really be that solid. You're going to end up cutting this card way more than you end up playing it. I mean, only if you're in a super aggressive deck. The thing with Convoke is that you can kind of leave your creatures back and you'd be able to block something and then you can make this go off. But it's not even, we've seen in the past where there's similar cards like this and they target all your creatures. And the fact that this one can only target 1 or 2 of them, it's still at a pretty massive disadvantage. You're going to end up cutting this card a lot of the time. Next up, we have Bark of Doran. It is a 2 mana card. It's an equipment. It says equipped creature gets +0/+1. As long as equipped creature's toughness is greater than its power, it assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power, and you can equip for 1. I don't think this card's very good. Nowadays, we're looking at equipments that when they enter, they either give you a token or you can go ahead and attach it to something for free. This doesn't let you do any of that, so it really kind of holds it back, especially compared to the equipments that we're getting now. I mean, it just seems like it kind of, compared to the even, in multiple other sets now, we have the exact same card, except when it comes down, it either gives you a token or it free equips to something. And since this doesn't do any of that, it just kind of is a 2 mana card that you just lay down. And then if you play it on turn 2, you have to wait another turn to equip it. I don't see a lot of value in it. I mean, you're going to play it when you absolutely have to fill out your deck, but a lot of times I think it's going to end up on the chopping block. Next on the list, we have Bridget Klaken's Heart. It is 3 mana. It's a legendary creature, Kifkin Warrior. It says whenever this creature enters or transforms into Bridget Klaken's Heart, create a 1/1 green and white Kifkin creature token. At the beginning of your first main phase, you may pay green, and if you do, transform Bridget. If you transform Bridget using that green, the back half says add X green or X white, where X is the number of other creatures you control. At the beginning of your first main phase, you may pay 1 white, and if you do, transform Bridget. I really like this card. I think it's a great card. The fact that it's, it's a little understated for a 3 mana, 3/2, but the fact that basically when it comes down, it enters. Because keep in mind, it says enters or transform. So when it enters, you also get a 1/1. So that makes it above rate. And then every time that you transform it, which is going to be very easy to do, you get another 1/1. It synergizes well with itself when you get it to the back half side. So let's say that you lay this down and then the next turn you transform it. So since it doesn't have summoning sickness, you can go ahead and use those abilities right away. You're going to have at least 3 creatures, including itself, because you have the 1/1 that you created on the turn that you played it, and then the 1/1 that came out after you transformed it. I think you're going to be very happy with this card. You're going to take it every time you can, especially in your green-white decks. The next card is Burden Stoneback. It is 2 mana. It is a giant warrior. It says this creature enters with 2 -1/-1 counters on it. You can also pay 1 and a white, remove a counter from this creature. Target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. I think this card is great. It is on rate for its stats. So basically, if you have it on turn two, it's a 2 mana 2/2. And then the fact that it's like, we see these in every limited set where there's always like a white card that you can do something, and then another creature gains indestructible. A lot of times on those white cards, it's like you have to sacrifice that white card to give another creature indestructible. This one, you don't have to do any of that. You just have to have the open 2 mana up. I think this is an incredibly great uncommon. You're going to take it very highly, and you're going to be very happy to play it in your deck. Next up, we have Clichan Festival. It is 3 mana. It is a Kindred enchantment, Kifkin. It says when this enchantment enters, create 2/1/1 green and white Kifkin creature tokens. You can pay 4 and 1 white and create a 1/1 green and white Kifkin creature token. I think this is a very solid card. You're going to be happy to play it. The fact that like when you have nothing to do in the late game and you can just keep spitting out 1/1s is incredible. And the fact that it comes down and actually adds to the board while it comes down, that's huge. We've seen now in limited. I mean, if you have an enchantment and it doesn't add to the board the turn it comes down, it really sets you back. So the fact that this one doesn't set you back because it also helps you create a board state, it's exactly what you want to be doing in your green white Kifkin decks, anyways. And in the late game, you can really snowball by just cranking out a bunch of 1/1s. So I think this is a very solid card. You're going to be very happy to play it. Next, we have Crypt Swap. It is 3 mana. It's a changeling, and it says exile target creature. Its controller creates a 1/1 colorless shapeshifter creature token with changeling. This card is interesting. I still don't think it's any good, but because it has the Kindred instant ability and it's a shapeshifter, that means that it's all the creatures. So if you have anything in your deck that kind of like lets you search up a certain type of creature, then, or well, I mean, not a creature, but anything that lets you search up like a Kindred, it counts for all of that. But even with that, I mean, it's just such a mediocre ability. You're not going to want to play this. This is one of those cards that they make for Commander, and they just kind of like, put it in with the limited stuff. But like, you're not taking away from your opponent. I mean, even if you get rid of the creature, you're still leaving them behind a 1/1. And this one, you're not even just leaving them behind a 1/1. You're leaving them behind a shapeshifter 1/1. Which could also mean if they're in a really synergistic deck, you're still helping them out. I just think it's unplayable and limited. Next, we have Curious Colossus. It is 5 mana, including 2 in white. It's a giant warrior. It says when this creature enters, each creature target opponent controls loses all abilities, becomes a coward in addition to its other types, and has base power and toughness 1/1. I think this card is incredible. This card is just going to win you games. There's so many creatures in this format, anyways, that are entering with -1/-1 counters on them, or get -1/-1 counters put on them. So just by making them into a 1/1, you effectively just remove them because then they're just going to die because of the counter that's on them. The ones that do stay behind, they're just going to be 1/1s. I'm sure you're going to have a massive board state in white. You're going to be able to quickly take over the game with this card. It's a bomb. You're going to play it. You're going to love it. And you're going to really, really hope you don't play against it at the table. Next up on the list, we have Irdu, Carrier of Dawn. It is for 5 mana, including 2 in white. It's a legendary creature, elemental god. It's got flying and lifelink. It says creature spells you cast have Convoke. Convoke means that your creatures can help cast those spells. Each creature you tap while casting a creature spell pays for 1 or 1 mana of that creature's color. At the beginning of your first main phase, you may pay 1 black. If you do, transform Irdu. If you transform Irdu, it turns into Islu, Carrier of Twilight. It still has flying lifelink. It's still a 5/5, except each other non-token creature you control now has Persist. Persist means that when it dies, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield under its owner control with the -1/-1 counter. At the beginning of your first pay a white, and if you do, you can transform Islu back to Irdu. So yeah, this card is really solid. A 5 mana 5/5 flying lifelink is already incredible. The fact that you can lay it down, and then because it has Convoke on the front side, you can then potentially cast other creatures is great. The black side, I don't know how often. I mean, I don't know how often you're really even going to want to transform it. I mean, I definitely see the value in it. It'd be absolutely broken if it was like a instant ability, because then like if they have something that targets and kills it, it just comes back with a -1/-1 counter. Unfortunately, that is not the case. So you just it's kind of very situational. You're going to transform it every now and then, but I really think the front half of the card is strong enough alone. I really think the front half of the card is so strong that you're probably not going to be transforming it too much. You're just going to keep using that Convoke ability to lay down more and more creatures. You're going to be swinging in 5 in the air, and keep in mind it has lifelink, so that's a 10-point swing that you're doing every single time in the air. This card's insane. You're going to love to play it, but more so insane on the front half than the back half. Next up, we have Encumbered Rejiri. It is for 2 mana. It's a Merfolk Soldier. It says this creature enters with 3 -1/-1 counters on it. Whenever this creature becomes tapped while it has a -1/-1 counter on it, remove a -1/-1 counter from it. So this card's really solid. I mean, just imagine in the world, like, you lay it down on turn 2, it's a 2/1, which isn't great, but assuming, like, depending on what your opponent's doing, the next turn you can swing in, it automatically becomes a 3/2. The turn after that, it becomes a 4/3. Like, it scales, has the game skills. Also, keep in mind with Merfolk, like, there's so much convoke going on in white in particular that, there's going to be ways that you can tap it and make it bigger without doing it. Now, do keep in mind the downside of this card is, that's in a perfect world where you get it on turn 2. If you're getting this on turn 5 and turn 6, there's a good chance that it's going to be a 2/1. It's going to stay 2/1. It's not going to feel nearly as good. I think it's one of those cards where, like, it's going to feel great if you can get it on turn 2, and it's going to be really miserable if you top deck it in the late game. And that kind of makes it just an average card. Next, we have Evershriek's Gift. It's for 1 white. It's an enchantment aura. It says enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has flying. You can pay 1 and a white and blight 2. Return this card from your graveyard to your hand. Activate only as a sorcery. To blight 2, you put 2 -1/-1 counters on a creature you control. This card's really solid. The fact that it's just like a 1 mana card, you can just lay it down on a creature that's already there and then start swinging in the air. You can get it back if you need to get it back. The blight 2 is kind of a downside, but if you have a big enough creature or something that there's so many cards here that gets paid off anyways when they go to the graveyard or anything like that, or they can give you things when on their way out the door. So there's ways in which you can use this to your advantage. I think it's a solid card. You're gonna play it. At least one. Auras aren't incredible, but the fact that you can just keep bringing this one back as you need it, and it can become a very situational card. You're gonna play at least one copy and be decently happy with it. Next up, we have Flock Imposter. It's for 3 mana. It's a shapeshifter changeling. It has flash and flying. It says, when this creature enters, return up to one other target creature you control to its owner's hand. This card is going to be incredible. We've seen cards like this in the past. They're always great. I mean, it's a little understated, 3 mana, 2/2 flying, but the fact that it has flash, it can really help you out in a pinch. Like if you have another creature that's getting targeted, you don't want that creature to go away. You can flash this out to save that creature. You can flash it out if you need to like create some sort of tempo play where you're like ambush blocking something. There's just a lot of flexibility in this card. I think it's wonderful. You're going to enjoy having one. You're going to enjoy having multiple copies of this if you can get them, honestly, because it can just really help you and it can really deflate games when like your opponent's trying to attack you or get rid of something and then you trump block it and then you bounce your thing and nothing happens, especially if whatever you bounce has an interest trigger. You're going to really enjoy it. Next, we have Gallant Falk Knight. It is 4 mana. It is a Kifkin Knight. It says, when this creature enters, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Kifkin creatures you control also gain first strike until end of turn. So this is an interesting card. I mean, I think you're going to get like one good attack out of it. Like it's a 4 mana, 3/4. And when it enters, everything gets bigger and they all gain first strike. So like that's going to be a real like tempo play. The problem is after that play, there's not really a lot going on because it's only when it enters. So, I mean, unless you have some sort of like flicker ability or something like that, you're really not going to, after that first turn that it comes down, it becomes understated. It doesn't do anything after that. It is a knight. I believe there's a little bit of knight and it's a Kifkin. And I know there's a lot going on with Kifkins in this set. But also because of that, like Kifkins are pretty small. So, I mean, there's a world in which you lay this down and your creatures still aren't big enough to attack into it. I think all of that makes it a pretty situational card. Usually it's kind of interesting to see this card. Usually in this kind of thing, we've seen it where like it enters and it gives something at least like a +1/+1 counter or something like that. That's typically what the stat line is for these 4 mana 3/4s now. And the fact that this one just has like a 1-turn trick and that's it, it really is below rate now. Next, we have Gold Medal Nomad. It is for 1 white. It's a Kifkin Scout. And it says you can pay 1 white, exile this card from your graveyard, and create a 1/1 white Kifkin creature token. You can activate only as a sorcery. I think this card is incredible. It just kind of, it's a great turn 1 play. And then later in the game, when you get rid of it, you can replace itself, which is always what you want. It's a solid common. You're going to play it. It's going to be great in your Kifkin deck. Next, we have a 2 mana card. It is a Keep Out. It's an instant. It says choose one. Keep Out deals 4 damage to target tapped creature, or you can destroy target enchantment. This is awesome. I love the flexibility in this. We've seen in the past where it's like a 2 white, or it's a 2 mana these 2 mana white cards that only deal the 4 damage, and they can only do it to like something that's tapped or something that's blocking or something. And it's very like situational. And the fact that like, yes, this one has that ability, but it also gives you the option to destroy target enchantment. There are some enchantments in this set that you're just groundbreak or just backbreaking, and you're going to want to be able to remove them. So having that flexibility is huge on this card. I think you're going to at least be happy playing one copy in your deck. Next, we have Kin Bending. Speaking of enchantments that you want to get rid of quickly, it is 5 mana, including 2 in white. It says creatures you control get +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures that enter the battlefield under your control this turn. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 green and white Kithkin creature token. This card is insane. On the even the turn it comes down, it still buffs your whole board because again, as long as you lay it down before you go to your combat phase, you're going to be getting that 1/1. It's going to bump all your board. You're going to keep bumping that board. So even when like it goes in the late game and you have absolutely nothing going on, you're at least getting +X or +1/+1 on every single creature, every single turn. This card's going to run away with games. You're going to hate to play against it. You're going to love playing with it. Next, we have Kinsbale Aspirant. It is for 1 white. It is a Kifkin citizen. It says, as an additional cost to cast the spell, behold a Kifkin or pay 2. To behold a Kifkin, choose a Kifkin you control or reveal a Kifkin card from your hand. When another creature you control enters, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This is a really solid card. It's not going to feel good as a 3 mana 2/1, that's for sure. But the fact that it's in a Kifkin, all you have to do is behold a Kifkin. You're going to have Kifkins. You're either going to already have one out on the battlefield, or you're going to have one in your hand. It's just going to happen. There's way too many of them in this set not to have one, and that's going to feel good. And then whenever another creature enters and you get that +1/+1, it becomes a 3/2. So there's definitely a world in which you turn 1 play this, and then on turn 2 you're already swinging in with the 3/2. That's probably going to happen a lot. It's going to feel awesome when you're doing it. It's going to feel terrible when it's happening to you. So yeah, this is a card you're going to take really highly, and you're going to be very happy with it. Next, we have Kinscar Sentry. It is for 2 mana. It's a Kifkin soldier. It's got first strike and lifelink. It says whenever this creature attacks, you may put a creature card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking, where X is the number of attacking creatures you control. This card is pretty good. Again, it's one of those cards where it's 2 mana, so if you have it on turn 2 and you lay it down, you're just going to run away with the game, and it's going to feel incredible. If you're unfortunately not able to play it until much later in the game, it's going to feel less incredible because you probably have the mana to cast the creatures that you want anyways. Your attacks might not be as good, but just the high upside on the fact that it's like a great attacker and it has first strike and lifelink, which means that not only is it a great attacker, but also that 4-point swing is going to be huge because your opponent's going down 2 points, you're going up 2 points. And all the extra ability to put even more creatures down, especially in like the green-white Kifkin decks. You're going to feel incredible having this card. It's a great card. You're going to be happy to play it every time. Kith Keeper. It is for 7 mana. It's an elemental. It has Vivid. It says when this creature enters, create X 1/1 green and white Kifkin creature tokens, where X is the number of colors among permanents you control. Tap 3 untapped creatures you control. This creature gets +3/+0 and gains flying until end of turn. So I already mentioned in my last video, I'm not super high on Vivid. I mean, at best, I think you're going to end up paying 7 mana, and you might have 3 colors going on, and then you get a 3/3 and then 3/3/1s, which is like, okay, it's not anything crazy. It does allow you to use those 3/1/1s to tap them, and then give this one 6 in the air, which could be massive. But the fact that it's still only, it doesn't increase its toughness, so it only increases the attacking stat. There's a lot of ways that you can remove this card before it can ever get going. I don't think, I don't think highly of Vivid. I think it's going to be a very situational kind of mechanic. And this card, unfortunately, because of that, is not going to perform that well. I'm not very high on it. Next, we have Luminal Hold. It is for 4 mana. It's an enchantment. It says when this enchantment enters, exile up to 1 target online permanent and opponent controls until this enchantment leaves the battlefield. You gain 2 life. This is a very solid card. It's a great removal. It's 4 mana. You gain 2 life. We've seen this in the past. They just call it a different name, but it all does the same stuff, and it's great every time. You're going to be very happy to at least have one of these in your deck. Next, we have Mender's Guide. It is for 3 mana. It's a Merfolk Scout. It says whenever this creature attacks, you may tap another untapped Merfolk you control. When you do, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This card's really good. It is a little understated, so it's a 3 mana 3/2. There might be a situation in which you lay it down and then you don't have a good attack to attack in with it anyways. But even if you're like attacking in with it and they block it, hopefully they block in a way where you can at least 1-for-1 trade, and you're still going to feel like you come out ahead because if you have something in the graveyard, you're able to bring it back. So again, it's anytime you have these cards are kind of situational because on turn 3, like if you lay this down on curve and it's a turn 3 card, I mean, you're probably not even going to have anything in your graveyard, or if you already have stuff in your graveyard, it means that your opponent's doing something on their side of the board that you're probably going to have a difficult time swinging into. But I do think overall it has like great value, and it is an attack ability. So unfortunately, it is not. You do have to attack with it. You have to tap another untapped Merfolk. So you do have to have multiple for this one to come in. It's a little situational. I think that really holds it back from being like, oh my goodness, this card's incredible. But I mean, it's decent. Like you're going to play it in your Merfolk deck, and you're going to be happy with it if you're able to get its ability to go off. Next, we have Moonlight Laminator. It is 3 mana. It is a Tree Folk Cleric. It says when this creature enters, it enters with a -1/-1 counter on it. You can pay 1 and a white, remove a counter from this creature to draw a card. 3 mana, 1/4 is pretty good. That's just a great defensive card. And the fact that like you can basically, if you have this on turn 3 and then the next turn you don't have anything to do, you can go ahead and remove it, make it a 2/5, and you can then draw a card is pretty awesome. There are a ton of cards in this set that will add additional -1/-1 counters as well to it. So like you can end up in some wacky combos where like you're getting a -1/-1 counter on it, and then you're removing it instantly, and then you're just drawing a bunch of cards and getting a crazy advantage, especially in like black white. So yeah, I think this card's really, really good. I would, it's gonna be taken really highly in drafts and things like that, and it's gonna really help you win out games. Next up, we have Morning Tide's Light. It is 4 mana. It's a sorcery. It says exile any number of target creatures at the beginning of the next end step. Return those cards to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control until your next turn. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. Exile Morning Tide's Light. This card's good. You're going to get rid of all your opponent's things, even though they come back and they're going to be able to untap. Like it doesn't matter because even if they swing in, you're preventing all damage. So like you have just a free turn to attack in with however many creatures you want with no repercussions. A lot of time you're going to be able to get rid of their stuff and then you just close out the game, especially if you are already kind of like adding a huge board state and you have too many creatures going through and they can't block enough of them even on the following turn. So yeah, this card's just going to end games. You're going to feel terrible when it gets played against you, and you're going to feel amazing when you get to play it. Next, we have Personify. It is 2 mana. It's an instant. It says exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Create a 1/1 colorless shapeshifter creature token with Changeling. This card's really good. Again, like flicker effects are always good, especially when you have creatures there's so many creatures now that have enters abilities. And the fact that not only does it re-enter, but you get a 1/1 out of it. So you're getting whatever the ability is of the creature that you flickered, and you're getting a 1/1. I think this is an incredible uncommon. You're going to be happy taking 1. Sometimes even 2 copies of this is going to feel great. I mean, it really just depends on how your deck's built, but this is a great card. You're going to take it every time. You're going to be very happy with it. Next up, we have Protective Response. It is 3 mana. It's an instant. It has Convoke, and it says destroy target attacking or blocking creature. This card is going to be pretty solid, I believe. So yes, it is situational. You do have to, they have to attack in, but because of the Convoke ability, and this is going to get a lot of people because they're just going to see that you're completely tapped out. You have no mana up, and they're going to be like, okay, I have a great attack. I can swing in, and then you can just Convoke and just absolutely wreck them. So yeah, I mean, this card's great. You're going to at least want 1 copy of these when you can get them. And you're going to take it pretty highly and be okay with it, especially like depending on what kind of deck you're building. But yeah, you're going to like this card a lot. Next, we have Periodic Strike. It is 3 mana. It's an instant. It says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, you may Blight 2. To Blight 2, you put 2 -1/-1 counters on a creature you control. Choose one. If the spell's additional cost was paid, choose both instead. You can destroy target artifact or enchantment, destroy target creature with mana value 3 or greater. This is a great flexible card. When you just want to pay the 3 mana for it to get rid of one of these options, that's fine. And then if you really need to get rid of 2 options, you're going to be okay with doing that as well. There's a lot of flexibility in this card. It's another great uncommon. I think the white uncommons are all looking more or less pretty strong. So yeah, you might be able to even end up with a couple of these going around and still, I mean, you're going to feel incredible if you can get this later on in your drafts and things like that. It's just a great card. Next, we have Reluctant Dawnguard. It is 3 mana. It is a Kifkin soldier. It says this creature enters with 2 -1/-1 counters on it. Whenever another creature you control enters while this creature has a -1/-1 counter on it, remove a -1/-1 from this creature. This is a decent common. I've said it a million times, but like if you're in a Kifkin deck, if you can't tell, there's a lot of them. You're going to be playing creatures almost every turn. So it's not, it's going to feel really bad on turn 3 if you lay down a 2/2. That is for sure. But the fact that it can, by the next turn, if you have 2 2 manas and you have another man or 2 2 mana cards and one more mana to lay out, you can instantly turn it into the 4/4. I don't think it's going to be a card that I think it's going to end up getting cut sometimes because again, that just is such a horrible starting stat line. A 3 mana 2/2, and it doesn't like scale up. We just saw in the last set there was the Avatar Enthusiast that like every time you laid down an ally, it got a +1/+1 counter on it, and it started out as a 2/2, but it just scaled really well. Whereas this one's kind of capped at being a 4/4. So I do think that holds it back from being anything incredible. You'll play it to like fill out your deck, but like if you have to cut it, you're not going to feel bad about it. Next, we have Reese, the Evermore. It is for 2 mana. It's a legendary creature, Elf Warrior. It has Flash. It says when Reese enters, another target creature you control gains Persist until end of turn. And again, to recap Persist, it says when it dies, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, you can return to the battlefield under its under control with a -1/-1 counter on it. You can then pay 1 white, tap Reese, and remove any number of counters from target creature you control. Activate only as a sorcery. So I think this card's really good. All these flash cards in here, you're going to be able to ambush people with this. So like, let's say that your opponent just thinks that they're going to trade off for you, or they even just think like, they're going to completely get rid of something. And then you flash this in and it ends up having Persist. It's able to come back the very next turn. If it was like a bigger creature, you can just pay the 1 white to then make it its regular stat again. This card's going to be really good. It's going to throw people off. And it's just a solid, like if you have to lay it down on turn 2, it's not as strong. But it's still a 2 mana 2/2. So like it's like whenever I'm evaluating cards, I always think of okay, what's the base? So like if this card did nothing except it was a 2 mana 2/2, that's like a C minus, but it's still a playable card. And this does have a high enough upside that it gets an even better rate than that. So you're gonna be happy to play this card, especially it's weird because it's an elf, and elf is more of the green black, but you can splash in this one for because it's in green. So you're gonna be really happy with this, especially in like an elf deck. Next up, we have Riverguard's Reflexes. It is 2 mana. It's an instant. It says target creature gets +2/+2 and gains first strike until end of turn. Untap it. So this is a trick. I don't think it's a particularly good trick. Really tricks now, if they're more than 1 mana, they're just not really all that great. You can ambush people. That's probably where this is really going to come in play. Is like if you're in a situation where like your opponent thinks they have a good attack on you, and then you can play this down and untap something and give it first strike. So it's like, but I always think of tricks as like, it's always, tricks should be used to be like winning out games. And I mean, you have that flexibility with this card, but it's more of like a defensive trick. And I just think there's much better ways to be defensive. I mean, we've seen like 4 cards that do something to tap creature. So like, there's just better cards out there. This is going to end up getting cut a lot. Next, we have Shore Lurker. It is for 4 mana. It's a Merfolk Scout. It has flying. Says when this creature enters, surveil 1, and it's a 3/3. So, we've already discussed, 4 mana, 3/3 flyers. They are just not all that great anymore. We talked about that in the previous video. It's just not a good stat line. You get when this enters, you get a surveil 1. That's a decent ability. Like that's a decent enters trigger. And if you're able to flicker this, it might feel a little bit better. But it's still just understated. Now, I will say in this particular set, there is a lot of cards that are flyers, but they enter with -1/-1 counters on it. So, like the fact that this one doesn't enter with those -1/-1 counters, it actually might be like one of the better flying cards because like it can swing in pretty hefty. While those other cards still don't have, they have those -1/-1 counters on them. So it might be a little bit better than we've seen in the past. I still don't think it's going to be incredible. When you flicker this, it's not like the ability super incredible either. Like Surveil's a strong ability, but there's better ones. And, so if you have to play this card, you'll play it, but I think it'll end up on the chop and block a lot. Next up, we have Slumbering Walker. It is 5 mana, including 2 in white. It says it is a giant warrior. It says this creature enters with 2 -1/-1 counters on it. At the beginning of your end step, you may remove a counter from this creature. When you do, return target creature card with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this card's pretty strong. It enters, it's a 5 mana 2/5. Not exactly the greatest mana efficiency there. Like a 2/5 is not super great. But the fact that like you can just remove counters like just on instep, and when you do remove them, you're going to get a creature power with 2 or less from the graveyard onto the battlefield. If you're in white, you're probably going to have some like little weenie creatures that are in your graveyard that you're going to want to bring back anyways. And that makes this card much, much better. So like worst case scenario, by the end step, it's already going to be back up to a 3/6, which makes it a great blocker. And you're adding another body to the board. I think this is a solid card. I mean, it's not like a bomb, but like it's going to help you kind of stabilize on the board. And it's a great card to have. You're not going to be upset about pack one, pick one this. Next up, we have Spiral into Solitude. It is 2 mana. It's an enchantment aura. It says enchant creature. Enchanted creature can attack or block. You can pay 1 generic and a white, blight 1, sacrifice this aura, exile enchanted creature. We've seen this a lot. They all have different ways that, like, basically you lay it down and then they can't attack or block. And then later on in the game, if they're really still becoming a problem, because keep in mind, I mean, they can't attack or block, but if they have static abilities, those are still going off and you just need to get rid of it. You can do the blight 1 to then exile the card. I think this is a very solid common. It's a solid removal. You're going to be happy to play at least one of these in your deck. Next up, we have Sun Dappled Celebrant. It is for 6 mana, including 2 in white. It's a tree folk cleric. It has Convoke. That means creatures can help you cast the spell. Each creature you tap while casting this can either pay for 1 or 1 mana of this creature's color. And it has Vigilance. So a 6 mana 5/6 with Vigilance is already like a pretty good card. It's right where you want to be for Vigilance. Vigilance cards are great because you can basically swing in a lot with them, and it doesn't matter because they're able to stay on the defensive end. And the fact that you can convoke this in, so there's a chance especially if you're in like a Kifkin deck. I mean, you could really have this card out by like turn 3 or turn 4, and if you have a card like this out by turn 3 or turn 4, that's incredible. That's just an incredible rate card. I think it's a solid common. You're going to play it more times than you cut it, especially if you're in like a more creature heavy deck and you just need something that's like a top end card that can really close out the game for you. The next card we have up is Thoughtwept Ember. It is 4 mana. It's a Kifkin Advisor. It says whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of Kifkins you control. I don't really know how I feel about this card. I think it's interesting because it's whenever a creature attacks alone, and let's say that like if you're in a Kifkin deck, by the time it's turn 4, and if you lay this down and you swing in with one creature, you probably have at least 2 other creatures, so it's going to give it +3/+3. But it is like a single attacker. So it's just interesting to me. Like, I think there's a world in which like you lay this card down and it swings in and you're just going to close out the game, because like imagine if you swing in with this card and you have 5 other creatures, so it becomes a 5/10 every time that it's swinging in. Like, that's just a really hard card to block efficiently. You're not going to be able to remove it. But you're also not going to be taking 5 damage. But the downside, like the floor of this card, if you pay 4 mana and it's the only creature you have, you're going to feel really, really bad. You're going to be in a really rough spot. I think the fact that it's an 0/5, like it has a decent back to help be defensive and help you kind of like get back into the game potentially. But I also just think, it's one of those cards where you're going to feel incredible if you have a great board state for it. You're going to feel miserable if you just lay it down and you don't have anything else to do with it. And because of that, it's a very situational card. Next up, we have Timid Shieldbearer. It is a 2 mana Kifkin Soldier, and its ability is you can pay 4 and 1 white, and creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. We've seen this card in every single set. They name it something different. Sometimes the mana is different, but the being able to pump up the whole board is huge, especially if the game goes long. And in Kifkin decks, you're going to be going wide. This card can really help you close out the game. I think you're going to play it a lot. You're going to be happy with it. Next up, we have Tributary Vaulter. It is for 3 mana. It's a Merfolk Warrior. It has flying. It says whenever this creature becomes tapped, another target Merfolk you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So this is interesting. It's an interesting 3-drop. I think, a 3 mana 1/3 flyer is a solid rate. And the fact that, like, imagine if you have 2 of these and then they can just make each other bigger. So then you're swinging in with 2 3/3s every turn. They're just pumping each other up. That's going to feel pretty great too. It's a common, so you can probably get it later on. I never underestimate these 1/3 flyers. I've just seen time and time again whenever I'm playing, I tend to undervalue them, and then they always end up overperforming. It's just a weird stat line for some reason. Like, something about being a 1/3 flyer just makes it much better. And the fact that this one can make another creature bigger as well, become a threat in the air and threaten something on the ground, or make another threat in the air bigger, is huge as well. So I think it's a very solid common. You're going to be happy with playing at least one of them in your deck. Next, we have Wonderbrain Creature. It is 2 mana. It's a Merfolk Cleric. It says whenever this creature becomes tapped, you gain 2 life. So this is like just a solid card. I mean, it's fine. And that's basically all there is to it. Like there's some convoke stuff going on, so there's times you'll be able to get the 2 life. And if you swing in with it on, like, let's say that your opponent doesn't do anything on their turn, and then you're able to get like 1 or 2 hits in with it, like you're gonna feel incredible doing it. But it kind of, the game passes it up pretty quickly. But since it is a tapped ability and not a attack ability, you will get that 2 life a decent amount. Like it'll be fine. Next up, we have Wonderbrine. Trapper is for 1 white, and it is a Merfolk Scout. You can pay 1 generic, tap it, and then tap another untapped creature you control to tap target creature and opponent controls. So, I don't think these tap abilities are too great, especially like if you have to tap another one of your creatures. So, like, basically, you always think about, like, okay, how efficient is this? So, you would have to tap down 2 of your creatures because you have to tap down this creature and another creature to tap down only one of theirs. So, I mean, unless you're just like running away with the game and they only have 1 blocker, then yeah, like this card's going to feel incredible. But when you're tapping down 2 things, I only tap down 1 thing, and the game goes late, you're really not getting much value out of that. I think the stat line is solid enough. Like the fact that it's just a 1 mana 2/1 is just great. It's a good attacker to begin with. So like it's another one of these cards where if you get it early enough in the game, you're going to feel great. Like if you turn 1 play this, you turn 2 play another creature, and then you turn 3 play a creature, and your opponent only has 1 card on their side, and you're just able to tap this creature and whatever the smallest one is of the other 2, and then swing in with whatever the big threat is. Like you're gonna feel really incredible about that. But I just don't think it doesn't have enough upside for you to justify like taking it very highly. And to close us out in white, we have a Winnowing. It is 6 mana, including 2 in white. It's a sorcery. You can convoke this card. It says, for each player, you choose a creature that player controls. Then each player sacrifices all other creatures they control that don't share a creature type with the chosen creature they control. So I just think there's way too much synergy going on in this format, in this set, for you to really be able to make the most out of a card like this. Like there's going to be too many times where like they've got all their cards are the same creature type, and then you're just getting nothing out of this. And if you pay 6 mana for this and you get absolutely nothing, it's going to feel bad. I think it's a sideboard card for sure. Like if you can bring it out against the right opponent, like they have that 1 massive threat, but if they have no other creatures that match it. But even then, I mean, like some of the one-off cards in this that like don't share multiple creature types, they're also like some of the most broken cards. So I just don't really think that like this card is going to be good in this particular format. So yeah, I wouldn't take this card very highly. All right, and that's just going to wrap up our limited review for white. Be sure to tune in. The next one that we are going to be covering is going to be blue. So again, if you like the content, be sure to like and subscribe. Everything you all do helps the channel grow, helps me become a better Magic player along the way. And I really hope this helps you with your pre-release. I hope you go out there, go to your local game store, support them, get all the cards that you need for whatever deck you're building. And I wish you all the best of luck. Stay tuned for our next video.